What, ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the biggest limitation they've ever had wasn't the world, wasn't their circumstances, and wasn't the people around them. It was their own belief in what they could become. You have dreams that you've buried, goals you never started, and a version of yourself you keep imagining but never stepping toward. And the truth is simple: your life will only change the day you finally give yourself a real chance. You've waited long enough. You've talked yourself out of opportunities long enough. You've doubted your abilities long enough. You keep telling yourself, one day I will. But that one day never arrives because you don't believe you're ready. You don't think you're qualified. You don't think you're capable. But the reality is, you don't need permission, you don't need perfection, and you don't need to know everything. You need courage, not clarity. You need action, not approval. Every person you admire today started exactly where you are. Uncertain, unprepared, and afraid. The only difference is they gave themselves a chance. They took that first uncomfortable step. They moved even with doubt in their mind and fear in their chest. And slowly, the world moved with them. You keep waiting for the moment when everything feels right. But that moment is a myth. Nothing changes until you change. Nothing moves until you move. You might say life has been unfair. You may feel like you started late. But listen carefully. Your current situation is not your final destination. You still have time. You still have breath. You still have fight inside you. And that is enough to begin. Stop telling yourself you're too old, too tired, too broken, or too behind. Those are excuses dressed like reasons. The truth is, the door to your new life has been open the whole time. You just haven't walked through it yet. Give yourself permission to try. Give yourself permission to fail. Give yourself permission to grow. Failure will not destroy you. Fear will not define you. Doubt will not control you unless you let it. You owe it to your future self to take at least one step today. One small action, one small commitment, one small change that aligns with the life you want, not the life you're settling for. Imagine the person you could become if you simply stopped holding yourself back. Imagine the achievements, the growth, the confidence, the freedom waiting on the other side of one brave decision. You are capable of more than you've ever allowed yourself to believe. And the world needs the version of you that shows up fully, boldly and unapologetically. This is your moment. This is your turning point. This is the day you stop doubting and start doing. Give yourself the chance you've always wanted. Give yourself the opportunity you always waited for from others. Give yourself the belief you deserve. Your life won't change by accident. It will change the moment you choose to finally step into your potential. And that choice is yours to make today. Self-belief is not just a motivational phrase. It is the root of every change, every achievement, and every transformation you will ever experience in your life. Without self-belief, even the greatest plans collapse, even the strongest dreams fade, and even the most powerful opportunities slip through your fingers. But with self-belief, everything becomes possible. Challenges shrink, fear weakens, and the path forward becomes clearer, stronger, and more meaningful. Every transformation begins in the mind long before it appears in life. Before the world believes in you, you must believe in yourself. Before others see your potential, you must recognize it. And before you step into the life you dream of, you must first understand that you are worthy of that life. When you carry self-belief within you, you give yourself permission to evolve, to grow, to fail, to rise, and to keep moving no matter how difficult the journey becomes. Self-belief is the silent force that pushes you to take the first step, even when you're uncertain. It tells you that although the road may be long, you have the strength to walk it. It reminds you that even when you stumble, you are capable of getting back up. It whispers in your ear that your past does not define your future, and that your circumstances do not limit your potential unless you allow them to. This inner belief becomes the anchor that keeps you grounded when everything around you feels unstable. When you believe in yourself, your vision becomes stronger than your excuses. You stop waiting for perfect timing. You stop seeking approval. You stop doubting your abilities. Instead, you begin to act, to build to try, and to trust the process. Self-belief gives you courage. The courage to start new journeys, the courage to break patterns, the courage to take risks, and the courage to face the unknown. It turns fear into fuel and uncertainty into opportunity. Every person who has ever transformed their life began with one powerful decision. I can become more than I am today. That simple realization is the beginning of all greatness. But without self-belief, that realization dies before it grows. Think about the people who became extraordinary. Athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, leaders. Their success was not guaranteed. Their path was not easy. What separated them from the millions who gave up was not luck, it was belief. They believed when no one else did. They trusted themselves when others doubted them, and they continued even when failure tried to stop them. Self-belief builds resilience. It makes you stronger than criticism, smarter than fear, and braver than failure. It teaches you that every setback is a lesson and every disappointment is a stepping stone. When you believe in yourself, you stop seeing challenges, obstacles, and start seeing them as opportunities to grow you. And each time you overcome something you once thought was impossible, your belief in yourself grows even deeper. But self-belief is not a feeling that simply appears. It is a daily choice. You build it through small wins, disciplined actions, consistent effort, and positive self-talk. Every day you tell yourself, I can. You strengthen that belief. Every time you take action despite fear, you strengthen it even more. It becomes a mindset, a habit, a lifestyle, a foundation that supports every dream you pursue. If you truly want to transform your life, begin by transforming your mind. Start believing that you are capable, worthy, smart, strong, and deserving of success. Speak it, act on it, train your mind to accept it. Because once you believe in yourself, the world has no choice but to believe in you too. Self-belief is where it all begins. It is the foundation of every life transformation and the first step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Excuses are the invisible chains that keep you stuck exactly where you are. They disguise themselves as reasons, logic, fears, and limitations, but in reality, they are nothing more than walls you build around your own potential. The moment you allow excuses to dominate your thoughts, you shut the door to your growth, your opportunities, and your transformation. And the truth is, most people do not fail because they are incapable. They fail because they convince themselves that trying isn't worth it, that the timing isn't right, or that they are not ready yet. Excuses are comfortable. They protect you from discomfort, from change, from uncertainty, and from responsibility. They make you feel safe in the moment, but they keep your life small. They tell you tomorrow will be easier when tomorrow becomes next week, next month, and eventually next year. They whisper, you're not good enough, until you start believing it. They convince you that your dreams are too big, your challenge is too hard, and your path too risky. But excuses never solve problems. They simply delay the life you were meant to live. Every excuse you repeat becomes a brick in the wall between you and your potential. I don't have time. Brick. I'm too tired. Brick. I'm not talented enough. Brick. What if I fail? Brick. Each one blocks your progress, your confidence, and your momentum. Before you know it, you've built a whole prison with your own hands. A cage that keeps your potential trapped inside. And the saddest part is that the key to unlocking the cage has always been in your pocket. All you needed was the courage to stop making excuses and start taking ownership. Your potential is limitless. You have ideas, abilities, and strengths you haven't even discovered yet. But you will never tap into them unless you confront your excuses directly. You must be brutally honest with yourself. Are you really too busy, or are you avoiding discipline? Are you really too tired, or are you lacking purpose? Are you truly incapable, or are you afraid of stepping outside your comfort zone? Growth begins the moment you stop accepting excuses as truth, because excuses are never truth. They are fear, laziness, and doubt wearing the mask of logic. When you tear down the walls of excuses, you expose the powerful reality you are responsible for your life, not your past, not your circumstances, not the people around you. And taking responsibility is frightening because it forces you to face your own potential. But it is also freeing. It gives you the power to change, to improve, and to rise above every limitation you once believed in. Every time you silence an excuse and take action instead, you weaken the wall blocking your progress. When you wake up early instead of sleeping in, you remove a brick. When you work on your goals instead of wasting time, another brick falls. When you try again after failure, a huge chunk of that wall collapses. Slowly but surely, you create a path for your potential to finally break free. Excuses do not disappear overnight. They shrink when your mindset grows. They fade when your purpose becomes stronger. They die when your desire to improve becomes greater than your desire to stay comfortable. It takes discipline, honesty, and persistence, but the reward is a life without self-imposed limits, a life where you can finally breathe, grow, and rise. You have the ability to rewrite your story, to reshape your habits, and to rebuild your future. But nothing will change until you decide to stop standing behind the walls of your excuses. Your dreams are waiting on the other side. Your growth is waiting. Your success is waiting. You want to unlock your potential. Then start by breaking the walls you built around it. And remember, excuses don't protect you, they limit you. Your potential will only rise the moment your excuses fall. Real change does not start with a plan, a schedule, or a goal. It begins with a decision, a powerful internal decision that says, I deserve better than this. The moment you declare that truth to yourself, everything shifts. Your perspective changes, your energy changes, your actions change, and your life begins to move in a new direction. Change is not something that happens to you. It is something that awakens within you the moment you acknowledge your own worth and recognize that the life you're living no longer matches the life you truly desire. Most people stay stuck not because they lack potential, but because they have accepted a life far below what they are capable of living. They get comfortable with the familiar even when the familiar is painful. They tolerate stress, disappointment, toxic environments, and unhealthy habits simply because they've convinced themselves that this is how life is. But deep inside, there is a voice. Small at first, quiet but persistent, telling you that you were meant for more. That voice is the spark of transformation. And when you finally listen to it, when you finally admit that you deserve better, the process of change begins. The decision to deserve better is powerful because it breaks the chains of limitation. It challenges every belief that has held you back. It forces you to confront your excuses, your fears, and your patterns. When you decide you deserve better, you stop settling for less. You stop accepting the bare minimum. You stop clinging to people, habits, and lifestyles that drain you. You begin to look at your life not with frustration, but with responsibility and hope. You begin to see possibility where you once saw barriers. This decision is the turning point in every success story. Every person who has ever changed their life started with a moment of honesty, a moment where they said, enough. This is not the life I was meant to live. That moment is not dramatic or loud. It happens quietly inside your mind, but its impact is enormous. Because once you decide you deserve more, you start behaving like someone who deserves more. You treat yourself differently. You prioritize differently. Your standards rise. Your mindset shifts from survival to growth. Deciding you deserve better leads you to take actions you once avoided. You start setting boundaries with people who drain your peace. You leave environments that limit your growth. You commit to habits that elevate your future. You begin saying no to what harms you and hi yes to what strengthens you. You invest time in yourself instead of wasting it on distractions. You protect your mental space, your physical energy, and your emotional well-being. You stop chasing validation and start building self-respect. People often wait for motivation, inspiration, or perfect conditions to change their lives. But nothing changes until you believe you deserve a better life. This belief creates a fire within you, a drive that pushes you through discomfort, discipline, and sacrifice. Change becomes possible because your mind has shifted into alignment with your goals. You no longer work from a place of pressure, you work from a place of purpose. You start doing things not because you have to, but because you are finally convinced that your future is worth fighting for. And the beauty of this decision is that once you choose better, everything in your life rises to match that standard. Your relationships improve. Your opportunities expand. Your habits evolve. Your confidence grows. The world begins to make room for the person you are becoming. And slowly, you start creating a life that reflects your worth, not your fears or limitations. Remember, this change is not random, accidental, or mysterious. It begins the moment you decide that you deserve more than what you've been settling for. It begins when you refuse to let your past define your future. It begins when you honor your value and commit to becoming the strongest, happiest, and highest version of yourself. Everything you want is waiting for you on the other side of that decision. Change your belief, and you will change your life. One of the biggest myths people believe is that readiness comes before action. That one day they will suddenly feel confident, prepared, fearless, and fully equipped to chase their dreams. But the truth is far more challenging and far more powerful. You will never feel truly ready. Not at the beginning. Not before the first step. Not before the first decision. Readiness is not something you wait for. It is something you create through action. And the sooner you understand this, the sooner your life begins to shift. Taking action before you feel ready is the heart of every breakthrough. Every successful person you admire today started long before they felt prepared. They began with doubts, fears, and uncertainties. They questioned themselves. They struggled. They felt overwhelmed. But they still moved because they understood that waiting for readiness is another form of delaying your destiny. Action builds confidence. Hesitation destroys it. There will always be a voice in your mind saying, "You're not ready yet." It will tell you that you need more time, more knowledge, more strength, more clarity, more experience. But if you obey that voice, you will spend your entire life preparing without ever progressing. That voice is not protecting you. It is preventing you from becoming everything you were meant to be. The truth is that clarity comes from action. Confidence comes from action. Growth comes from action. Even failure teaches you more than endless planning and overthinking. The first step is always the hardest because it demands courage, not certainty. And courage is what shapes leaders, builders, creators, and achievers. Those who wait until they're ready stay frozen. Those who move despite fear transform their lives. Think about every major milestone in your life. None of them required you to be ready. They required you to be willing. You were not ready the first time you tried to walk. You were not ready the first time you spoke. You were not ready the first time you faced a challenge. Yet you still did it. Why? Because humans grow through doing, not waiting. The same rule applies to your goals, dreams, and purpose. Action taken before readiness is the secret ingredient behind progress. When you take a step you're not prepared for, you force yourself to adapt. You learn faster. You think smarter. You become stronger. You discover abilities you never knew you had. And you start gaining a momentum that planning alone could never give you. Every step you take creates the next step, and suddenly the path ahead becomes clearer because you're walking it, not imagining it. Waiting for the right moment is an illusion that steals years of your life. There is no right moment. The right moment is the moment you choose. Fear will always be there. Doubt will always whisper you. But your purpose is louder if you let it be. You cannot let hesitation become the prison that traps your potential. You cannot allow uncertainty to dictate the direction of your life. Taking action before you feel ready means trusting yourself enough to begin, even with trembling hands. It means accepting that you will learn on the way. It means understanding that perfection is not required to start, commitment is. It means giving yourself permission to be a beginner, to make mistakes, and to grow with every step. Life rewards action. Life rewards movement. Life rewards those who dare to begin. The moment you choose to act, even if you are scared, unsure, or unprepared, is the moment the universe begins to open doors you didn't even know existed. Opportunities appear. People show up. Support arrives. Confidence grows. And slowly you realize that readiness was never something you needed to wait for. It was something you were creating all along. So don't wait. Don't overthink. Don't hesitate. Take action now, before you feel ready. Because the life you want is built by the actions you take, not the excuses you make. And the sooner you begin, the sooner you become who you were destined to be. Somewhere in the future, there is a stronger, wiser, more successful version of you waiting to exist. A version who has achieved what you dream of today, who has grown past your current fears, and who is living a life you can barely imagine right now. That future self is not a fantasy, it is a possibility. And every day, that version of you is silently begging you to try, to begin, to take one step, to believe, and to give yourself a real chance. Because without your effort today, that future will never arrive. Your future self already knows the life you're capable of living. It knows the strength you haven't used yet, the talents you haven't developed, the opportunities you haven't taken, and the victories you haven't tasted. But it also knows the pain you're carrying, the regret of inaction, the fear of failure, the weight of what if, and the burden of dreams you never pursued. This future self wants from you the courage to try, not perfection, not certainty, just effort. You imagine standing face to face with the person you could one day become, the healthiest version of you, the most confident version of you, the most focused, disciplined, and fulfilled version of you. What would they say? They wouldn't tell you to wait. They wouldn't tell you to doubt yourself. They wouldn't tell you to shrink, settle, or stay the same. They would tell you, please don't give up on me. Please try. Please take the first step. I am counting on you. Your future self sees the consequences of every decision you make today. Every excuse you repeat pushes that future further away. Every moment you waste is a moment you steal from the person you are becoming. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you delay your highest potential. Your future self feels that pain because that version of you cannot become real unless you commit to change right now. Trying doesn't mean you will get everything right. Trying doesn't mean the journey will be easy. Trying simply means you care about your life enough to move forward. It means you believe even when you don't feel ready. It means you choose progress over perfection. And it means you have the humility to begin as a beginner, knowing that every expert was once afraid too. When you give yourself a chance, you open the door to transformation. You allow new opportunities to enter. You give your mind space to grow, your habit space to improve, and your strength space to develop you. The small steps you take today, the discipline you build, the risks you face, the habits you adopt, shape the reality of your future self. Every little effort compounds. Every choice builds momentum. Every simple action creates a ripple that reaches far into your tomorrows. Think of the things you've wanted for years but never pursued, the skill you wanted to learn, the health you wanted to improve, the business you wanted to start, the dream you wanted to chase. Why didn't you begin? Fear, doubt, overthinking. These are the chains that keep millions of people stuck in the same place year after year. But your future self is begging you to break them. Because on the other side is a life far greater than the one you're settling for. The worst kind of regret is not failure, It is wondering what could have happened if you had just tried. Years from now, you won't remember the fears that stopped you. You will only remember the dreams you abandoned, But you have the power to avoid that regret. You have the power to rewrite your story. You have the power to take the steps your future self desperately hopes you will take. Give yourself permission to try. Give yourself permission to grow. Give yourself permission to become someone you are proud of. Your future self is waiting, hopeful, grateful, and full of potential. All you have to do is give yourself a chance today and watch the life you dream of slowly become the life you live. Every step of this journey reminds us of a powerful truth. Transformation starts from within. Your self-belief sets the foundation. Your excuses become the walls you must break. Your decision to deserve better becomes the turning point. Your willingness to act before you're ready becomes your momentum, And the hope of your future self becomes your motivation. All of it leads to one message. Your life changes the moment you choose to change it. You are not trapped. You are not limited. You are not destined to live small. You have untapped potential waiting for your courage, dreams waiting for your discipline, and a future waiting for your commitment. The life you want isn't far away. It is built day by day, choice by choice, step by step. So take the step you've been avoiding. Start the journey you've postponed. Believe in the version of yourself that is capable of rising, growing, and becoming extraordinary. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your future. You owe it to the life you dream of living. Your transformation doesn't start tomorrow. It starts the moment you finally give yourself a chance.